I'm going to be walking through how I seismically retrofit my 70-year-old house, and we're living very close to a fault line, so this is something that I've been wanting to do, and I've learned a lot of stuff, so I just want to share that with you guys, and hopefully this is helpful. So to get started, this right here is called your concrete foundation. This is called your mudsill. This right here is called a cripple stud. These two are called your top plates, and then up here are what are called your floor joists, and then this right here is your subfloor. So when you're standing in your house, you're standing on top of this, and then usually there's like some fancy looking wood or whatever, but this is the subfloor, this is the floor joist. And then what you'll note here is that, you know, depending on your house, things can look different. In this case, there's a cripple stud right here and top plates, as well as our mudsill. But that's not always the case like it is on this wall, where in our crawl space, it's just the concrete foundation and then mudsill and then floor joist. So if you have a house, and this house has, you know, a variety of everything, if you kind of look down there, but basically if you come here and you look at it, so in our case, if the earth started shaking like this concrete is going to be shaking side to side. And what's going to happen is it's going to want to push your mudsill off of the concrete if you don't have anything holding it into the concrete. So that's where these things come into place, and these are called Simpson URFPs. There are other types of fasteners out there to hold this thing in place, but in our case, this is what I'm using because I have very limited clearance between the crawl space to actually like get anything down. Because what you can do if you have more space is you can actually just drill bolts directly from your mudsill into your concrete. But because I don't, we're using these URFP plates. And so these guys have the job of basically holding this concrete to your mudsill. And it does that with 5 2.5-inch screws. And then we also have 2 4-inch concrete bolts. And the way you install these is with rotary hammer drills. And they're very noisy, but they basically, you drill out a 1/2-inch hole that is 4 1/4 inches deep, and then you install these, and they're 4 inches long, and then they basically are in there really tight so that in the event of the concrete shaking, it's gonna keep the mudsill from slipping off. Now, if we keep looking at this wall, the other issue we're gonna have though is just because we've secured our mudsill onto our concrete, the other thing that can happen though is we can have our floor joists actually fall off of the mudsill. And so that's the reason why people come in and they install these. This is called an L90. And so basically what it does is it sits up in there, and there are 10D 1.5-inch nails that are basically holding the mudsill into the floor joists right here. So that again, if this whole thing is shifting side to side like this during an earthquake, your floor joists are not going to fall off of it. So that's another area of failure during earthquakes for houses. And so those are the two types of like anchoring that you're going to be doing. And then finally, you have the bracing, or whatever you want to call it. But this is where when you have cripple walls like these, the issue is that, you know, prior to me putting this sheathing in place, it was just a bunch of these cripple studs, and it's like a bunch of dominoes. And so on this side, if the earth starts shaking this way, you know what happens to dominoes when you touch them? They're also going to topple over. So there's a lot of pictures of houses after earthquakes with cripple walls where the walls just topple over and they all fall in like one direction, just like dominoes do. And so when that happens, you're gonna have to like tear down your house and rebuild it. It's very expensive. So what we do to prevent that is, if you have a cripple wall like we do on this wall, you come in with some plywood, and in my case this is 5 ply, so that means that there are 5 layers of wood in here. If you look at Home Depot, you'll sometimes see like 3 or 4 layers, but what standard plan set A calls for is 5 plywood. So you got to make sure you're getting the right one, and it's also 15/32 of an inch thick. And in our case, it has to be at least 4 feet long. And so what you do is you come in and you use a bunch of 8-penny 2.5-inch nails, and you go around the perimeter of this thing and you're securing it in place. Now, the thing to note about cripple walls is that they just look like this. There's no, so you have nowhere to nail into on the lower part of between your studs on your cripple wall. So what you have to do is you have to come in and install blocking. So I think you might be able to see right up in there how I cut a piece of 2x4 and then I used two 3-inch nails on each side. You can't see them, but I basically used two 3-inch nails on both sides to drive this in place to hold this 2x4 up here so that I can continue my perimeter of nailing along the edges of the sheathing for this. And so you have to do that at every single point. So you basically come in here, and I just brought a little circular saw down here with me, and I went through the process of basically cutting all that 2x4, and then I used Simpson 2.5-inch screws, you know, similar to those ones, to basically hold it into the mudsill. And then now we had wood to actually nail into to support this thing from this side. So now if there ever is an earthquake and this ground's shaking this way, we're lucky because, or we're going to be a little bit more protected because these things are gonna, even though they're gonna want to fall over one side or the other, by nailing around the perimeter and by also nailing up and down like this. So I marked where every cripple stud was and I nailed into it. So now these cripple studs are going to want to try to fall over one way, but the plywood's going to be holding them all together so they can't fall in any one direction. So that's how you basically prevent that from happening. And then same story as before with our URFP plates holding our concrete foundation into our mudsill. And then also in this case, because I didn't have an overhang on my top plate, so I could not install an L90 here. So what I had to do instead is install these Simpson H10As. And they're basically holding on to, again, the floor joist, and they're securing that onto the sheathing and into the two top plates right here. So and I also used 3-inch nails here, and those were 10Ds. Basically every single nail that goes into this is going to be a 10D. And Simpson has really good documentation and support on this stuff, so I recommend you can call them or whatever, but just make sure you read how to install these, so you make sure you're using the correct fasteners and everything. You're also only supposed to use nails with your sheathing, not screws. I'm not exactly sure why, but honestly, I'm just trying to follow the code and make sure I do this right. So that is how you do it. And so the other thing we have here are just a bunch of 2.5-inch holes for ventilation in this. And then also the whole reason why I had to even make this cutout in the first place is because this crawl space had existing underfloor vents. And so you have to make sure that you cut out notches in your sheathing so that your underfloor vent system remains completely functional and intact. So you can't just do a little hole here, because then you'd be restricting the airflow that the house was originally designed to have. So basically your sheathing is not going to obstruct any of that flow. And then it's also going to have some little vents here just to still maintain some kind of ventilation, even though you're covering up a lot of the space. So that is how this thing works. I hope this is helpful stuff, and hopefully we don't have any earthquakes that break houses, but if there are any, at least you can feel a little bit safer in your house when or if that happens. So hope this helps. Thanks all for watching, and be well.